Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharira. The whole story of Prahlada Maharaja is about how never forget the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is full of all good qualities. If we simply remember the Lord, we can avoid any suffering. For this it is necessary to know that God is the Supreme Person. He resides in the heart of every living being as the Paramatma or Super Soul. And at the same time He exists in His original form. We human beings have a form similar to that of the Lord, but here in the material world our bodies are not eternal. They will be perished. But in the spiritual world, we have an eternal spirit body. We can communicate with the Lord forever and get eternal bliss. So, just imagine, Prahlada Maharaj, the 5 years old son of Hiranyakashipu, came to his father and bowed down to him. The father looks at him tenderly. He says, "Live a long life." The father seats his son on his lap and smells the scent of his son's hair with tears in his eyes. And Prahlada smiles. Prahlada is the highest devotee of the Lord. Why didn't Hiranyakashipu become a devotee of the Lord? Hiranyakashipu said, "Prahlada, my son, may your life be long. You have been listening to the instructions of your teachers for a long time. Tell me about what you learned from these teachers." However, Prahlada Maharaja had 2 types of teachers. The teachers of the first type were appointed by his father. They instructed him how to enjoy in this material world. Another teacher's name was Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a bona fide spiritual master. He gave instructions to Prahlada while he was in his mother's belly, mother's womb. Prahlada repeated the instructions he had heard from his spiritual master. Thus, the son and the father had different ideas about what knowledge is the best. And what did Prahlada say? It's hard to retell in a few minutes. This is a whole textbook of the Bhakti Yoga. One thing is very wonderful. Prahlada was only 5 years old, and he already distinguished what is the true guru and who is the false guru. There are many different gurus in this world who teach us how to enjoy in this world, but in reality this world will never be a place of pleasure. This is a place of suffering. Our pleasures here are not eternal and are mixed with suffering. So Prahlada describes the 9 processes of Bhakti Yoga. The first process is how to hear about the Lord, Shravana. The second process is to glorify the Lord. It is also very important to do any dirty, simple work. Padasevana, washing the temple, for example. It can be any dirty work. However, it leads to liberation. It is not so simple. Or for example, Smaranam, just think about the Lord. It's not so easy. It's already a level of liberation. Wait, here we are talking not just about some activity. We are talking about the Lord. This is what is directly related to it. Therefore, do not neglect simply dirty work in the service of Krishna. Archana, worship of a deity, Vandanam, offer praise, Dasyam, think of yourself as the servant of the Lord, Sakyam, think of yourself as a friend of the Lord and also have firm faith. Atmanivedanam, the offering of the Atma to the Lord, or the offering of the body to the Lord. Atmanivedanam may be accompanied by ecstasy or without ecstasy. For example, Queen Rukmini wanted to marry the Supreme Lord Krishna, and wrote him a letter declaring her love. This is the Atmanivedanam with ecstasy. And King Bali Maharaja surrendered the whole world to the Lord, and himself also surrendered, fulfilling his duty, just out of duty. This is Atmanivedanam without ecstasy. Interestingly, bhakti can be practiced by anyone. With ecstasy or without ecstasy, any person, even one who does not follow the Vedic culture. For example, Vedic culture excludes women as a spiritual leaders, while Bhakti Yoga makes women spiritual leaders. In Lord Chaitanya's movement, we are not just building a Vedic culture. Even many devotees may be dissatisfied because not everywhere there is Vedic culture, a life of goodness, but that is our Atmanivedanam. We surrender ourselves to Krishna, to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. The Vedic culture, Varnashrama Dharma, should also be there, but because that culture advocates Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, people cannot understand what the devotees are. How to perform bhakti correctly? First, one has to offer everything to the Lord, and then one has to perform devotional service. Usually people do this. I have lived my life and now I want to offer my life to the Lord. No, offer now and serve later. Not when your life will be finished. Become a devotee of Krishna. This is a bhakti. Otherwise, people will offer their sinful activities to God. And this has indeed happened in many religions of the world. Actually, there is only one religion, and that is the devotional service to the Lord. Traditions may differ, but the essence is the same. And so the boy Prahlada teaches us how to do smaranam, how to remember the Lord in all circumstances. It is suitable for those who have cleansed their hearts by regularly hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. The father of Prahlada, Hiranyakashipu, was completely self-centered. He also constantly remembered the Lord, but he thought of him as his own enemy. He was terribly angry. His lips trembled. At first he suspected that Prahlada's teachers were traitors. Then he thought that it was the devotees of the Lord, the Vaishnavas, who did harm to his son. He then called his son a traitor. Marvelous! Bhakti is love for the Lord, but Hiranyakashipu believed that Bhakti is the cause of enmity in the world. He said that Bhakti is asara, worthless or unconventional. You can also understand in this way. Hiranyakashipu was very intelligent. He asked his son, "You rascal, the most fallen in our family, if you were not taught this, where did you pick up such absurd ideas?" But the son replied, "Dad, you don't have such a mind. You don't have such intelligence. There are two types of intelligence. The spiritual intelligence of one who serves Krishna, dadami buddhi yogam tam, and the mind of materialist, one who does not serve Krishna. From this type of intelligence, the devotional tendency cannot be awakened. Therefore, the demons never turn to the devotional service of the Lord. It is completely absent from their minds. Demons may be powerful from a material point of view, but it is a weak mind. And what does Prahlada say? Leaders like you are blind people, leading blind people. These are terrible words for Hiranyakashipu to hear. It's just unbearable. The son criticizes his father, hence the child is challenging. Why does he have such attachment to Krishna? This is the mark of pure bhakti. A person is not attached to relatives, to the country, not attached to anything. He is renounced even from family ties. Smaranam means that he has no connection with the material world. His material feelings, emotions, desires, designations. Then Hiranyakashipu ordered, "Kill my son. Take this boy away from me, you people. Take. Oh, demons, He deserves death. Kill him now. This boy abandoned his family in order to serve our enemy, Lord Vishnu, like a mere servant. Hiranyakashipu knew that Vishnu could spread himself through those who served him. Therefore, there is no difference. Prahlad represented Lord Vishnu, and Hiranyakashipu understood the power of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he persecuted Vaishnavas and Brahmins, and in this case, he ordered him to be killed. Hiranyakashipu gives arguments. Why? Because people could condemn him, that a father would kill his own son. Arguments must be made to keep his reputation strong. He had a great gift of persuasion. Hiranyakashipu was a great preacher, a learned man. The only thing he didn't understand was Bhakti. It is very difficult in this world to see the difference between lust and Bhakti, love of God. When we see a person who enjoys just lust in the form of music, art, culture of self-expression, it is like Bhakti, looks like Bhakti. Ordinary people cannot recognize. All souls need Bhakti, but in the kingdom of Hiranyakashipu there was no Bhakti. If there is no Bhakti, it needs to be replaced by something. And therefore he actually became a god for a people. He tried to poison his son with, he threw him into a pit, starved him, drove him out into the cold, threw him into the fire, threw him into the abyss from a high mountain, kept him in prison, used witchcraft. So he repeated this many times. Then the Rakshasa demons, servants of Hiranyakashipu, began to pierce the delicate body of Prahlad Maharaja with tridents. The very sight of these demons was terrible. With deafening cries of chop him, pierce, they started beating Prahlad Maharaj, who was sitting silent and motionless, absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here is some kind of miracle. What does it mean to remember the Lord? It is just something going on in your mind. It is something non-embodied, unreal, just mind. No, the whole material existence is based on the mind. But Prahlada controlled his mind. He thought only of serving to the Lord. Prahlada did not feel any pain and did not receive any injuries. He was outside of activity, mood, emotional, physical. In fact, he was in a spiritual body. He thought of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord is present everywhere. His mind merged with the existence of the Lord. Therefore, these people could not do anything bad. They could not pierce him with a weapon. Finally, the Lord himself appeared in the form of the lion man, Nrisimhadeva, Nrisimhadeva Bhagavan ki Jaya. And he destroyed Hiranyakashipu. Everyone was afraid of Nrisimhadeva, but Prahlada felt tender love for him. Thus, remembering the Lord is very, very powerful.